and keeping it out of the sun is a good idea to keep your meat quality up?
For beef, I guess it all depends on the size of the animal again. You typically want them weighing, depending on like the size of them and how big they can actually allow themselves to get. It's called frame. You can have a fat steer that's 1,200 pounds because you just can't put on any more weight, or you can have one that's 1,500 or 1,600 pounds. And I took a formula and used a 1,500 pound steer, and you get 576.6 pounds from that steer if you cut off all the fat and all the unwanted other parts of it. So if you just prime, it'd be cut off like the fat right here, and that would get you the 576. But before that, it was like 780 pounds that you would get from the animal.
So I had pork, and with pork, you're gonna get a white meat that has a lot of fat on it. So you're gonna get a really good rich flavor with that, with all the fat. And so for a 184 pound carcass, which is about the average for a market hog, you're gonna have, the ham will be about 45 pounds of that. That's obviously back here, the biggest part. The belly is gonna be 34 pounds of that. Loin, 33 pounds. Picnic, 16 pounds. Boston butt is 14 pounds, and miscellaneous, which would be like your jowl or pig's feet, and then skin, fat, bones, all of that, is going to be about 39 pounds.
Nick Wilkin and Sawyer Mercado, please report back to the gymnasium.
You're going to get most of your retail cuts from the loin. That's where all of your chops are going to come from, tenderloin. Most of your retail cuts will come from that. From the belly, that's where most of your bacon is going to come from, and that's my personal favorite. So picnic, you'll get a picnic roast from there. Your ham, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's where you get your big pieces of ham that you eat on the holidays. And here's some nutritional facts for pork. So a serving size of 4 ounces is going to have about 21 grams of protein. Obviously you can see it's fairly high in fat, but as you always say, no waste, no taste. So, that's a good thing. You'll get a better flavor.
And then for pork, like Ira said, 180 pounds to 250 is a good market weight. And for a hog that's 250 pounds, you'll get 180 pounds of all the stuff that he had up there. But if you just take the main cuts like the ham and the Boston butt and the loin and the more main parts of it, you'll get 120 pounds out of a 250 pound animal.
Is there any questions about any sorts of meat? Goat, deer, pork, or beef? Anything you want us to touch on?
Questions concerning you guys buying the meat for your restaurants?
So if we were to rank those in order of price, how would the pricing break down? What's going to be most expensive for us? What's going to be least expensive? What's consumers like your beef and pork?
Your deer is probably gonna, but I guess you can't really sell it. But if you could, it would be more like, it'd probably be the more expensive one since you can't deer hunt all year. So you'd probably have to pay more per pound for that. Your goat is probably second, and then beef and pork. You can get from the Hy-Vee website, you could get 2 16-ounce rolls of beef for $5, and then the pork was 99 cents for 5 ounces.
Yeah, it also depends on what cuts that you want to get. Obviously, if you have a prime steak, that's going to be pretty expensive, but ground beef is going to be pretty cost effective.
So it all depends on what you guys want to sell in your restaurant.
So how did you guys cook this today? Would you consider it well done, rare, medium?
Probably rare, I would say.
Yeah, rare.
It's kind of hard to grill 4 different types of meats at once. I figured out today because you got to put it on there at different times. But I don't know, I think it all turned out pretty tasty in the end. We just put Lowry's on every single one, so it wasn't different, cause obviously, you could cook beef a different way to make it better, you cook deer a different way to make it better, I mean, it goes for everything, put different sauces on different things in my mind. But everything just had a dash of Lowry's on the grill. Any other comments or concerns? Questions?
You had said that that the thing to worry about with deer, like when you're field dressing, if you would cut through an organ or something, but then you also said that most of the time when you bring the deer, they're just throwing a whole bunch of them together and grinding them up. So how do you protect from, you might have done yours right, but somebody else didn't do theirs right?
Pretty much the safest way to do it is to do it yourself, so you know it was done right. Like anything, if you want something done right, you should just do it yourself. And so with a deer, if you were to field dress it yourself and do it right, you know exactly like how that meat is. You're not gonna risk like getting some sort of disease from it.
And in addition to that, we deer hunt my family, and traditionally we always took them to the locker, but this year we ended up doing it ourselves, and I thought the quality and the taste was a lot better doing it yourself. Plus, you can have it the week after you hunt, where if it takes the locker, you might have to wait 3 months at a time just to get your meat home to you.
What's the difference between 85% lean and 80% lean, 93% lean?
That's just gonna be the fat content that you have in any of your ground meats.
Is one
So,
better than the other?
Lean, kind of depends, I guess, what you want to do with it, or how much you want it to cost as well.
The more lean meats there is, the more expensive it will be. Like, so if you have 93% lean compared to 7% fat, it's gonna be more expensive than 80 to 20.
So in conclusion, I hope our restaurant owners will end up buying some meat from us, and maybe even learn a thing or two about their meats along the way.